What is going on, you guys? My name is Nick and welcome back to the channel, and I am finally bringing you guys my 2023 Oscar predictions. Well, this is technically, I guess, the first round of predictions, and I say first round because once we get closer to Oscar nomination morning, we're gonna have all of our smaller award ceremonies, so like our Golden Globes and stuff like that. And naturally, once we start to get those nomination lists and eventually the winning lists of those specific ceremonies, all of our Oscar nomination lists are going to start shifting, or at least in theory they should, but who knows, maybe they won't. But with that said, you guys, I have so many categories to get to because I'm doing every single category that the Oscars are going to be doing, except for a couple. And those are both the short and the feature-length documentary films, because I just simply don't know which ones to watch, even if I really wanted to. I'm not that big on documentaries, honestly. I'm also not going to be doing the best original song, because that is obviously going to go to Rihanna for her song for Black Panther this past year. It's a phenomenal song, and it rightfully deserves it. So much so that there's just not really any other competition for it this year. And last but most certainly not least, even though I am leaving it out of the list, so I guess it could be seen as the least, but the live action and animated short films, I've not seen any of those. I haven't even heard about which ones to watch, so of course I can't really make a list on them. But every other category is going to be in this list, from production design all the way to best picture. So let's jump right into it. All right, first up, what we're going to do is production design. I'm going to work my way pretty much down the list from all the technical categories to the acting, and then of course best picture for last. But we're starting with production design, and first up I have Florencia Martin for Babylon. These aren't in any particular order. If I feel strongly that one in particular is going to win, then I'm going to voice that. But do not take, like, for instance, this one showing up. This doesn't mean she's going to win. This is not who I think might win. I mean, very well could, but it's really way too early to be putting numbers on any of these. These are just nomination lists. Up next, I have Ben Proctor for Avatar: The Way of Water, Rick Carter for The Fabelmans, Catherine Martin and Karen Murphy for Elvis, and of course, Guy Davis and Kurt Indry for Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Not a whole lot to say here for the production design. All of them are phenomenal. I think any one of them has a very solid chance of winning. If I had to pick one, maybe Babylon, maybe Pinocchio, but we'll see. Up next, you guys, is costume design, and first up is Mary Zofres, I believe is how you say her last name, for Babylon. I'm going to butcher a lot of people's names in this video, except for like the bigger known people, you know, like the Spielbergs and stuff like that. I'll pronounce his name correctly, but a lot of like the lesser known people, unfortunately, like the costume designers, I might mispronounce their names a little bit, so please forgive me. We have Ruth Cotter for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which for me personally, this is the image you're seeing on screen. I do think she deserves the win for this one. The costume design, not only in the first film, was phenomenal, but this one might be even better, especially of how they chose to design the clothing of I believe it's the Talokans, or the Talokans, however they say it in the film. It's just very cool. Up next is, of course, The Fabelmans. This is, I really don't see this one winning this category whatsoever. It's very low-key in terms of costume design. I feel like for these categories, we need to give it to the films that go above and beyond. And of course, I mean, the Fabelmans screenplay doesn't really allow for a whole lot of craziness in the costume design, as opposed to a Black Panther or maybe even a Babylon. Then we have Catherine Martin for Elvis. If you've seen the film, I'm not that big on it, but you gotta give credit where credit's due. The costume design in Elvis is phenomenal, along with the production design and the makeup and hairstyling and all of it. That film has a lot of technical beauty to it. Am I a fan of the screenplay or the editing? No, not really. And last but most certainly not least, Gersha Phillips for The Woman King. I don't really see this one happening. I think it could get a nomination, as it is on my list, but I don't see it winning in this category at all. I don't think it really has a solid chance at all. I think The Fabelmans might have a higher chance than that film, just because The Fabelmans is an actual contender for Best Picture, and taking home a costume design win might help its chances or boost it a little bit, but The Woman King, I don't think it has a chance at all. Up next, we have makeup and hairstyling, and of course, The Whale is going to be on here. Brendan Fraser, not what he was able to accomplish, because he didn't do the makeup and hairstyling, but what the team in The Whale was able to accomplish to make Brendan Fraser look like that, it's insane. And the fact that he can still perform and show all the emotions that he needs to, just kind of tips it even more into the section of The Whale, because it's just, I don't know, it's very impressive what they did with that fat suit. And I know a lot of people are just saying, well, it's just a fat suit, it's not that impressive. It's pretty fucking impressive, and it's okay to admit that. Of course, the person you're seeing on screen right now, that is Colin Farrell from The Batman, if you did not already know that. He's almost unrecognizable, like, and it's not just the makeup and hairstyling on Colin Farrell here. If you guys have seen the movie, the Joker is one of my favorite pieces of makeup in the film. You see like almost pieces of like skin and shit in his teeth. It's very, very cool. Even though a lot of people do crap on the fact that he's in the movie, hate to say it, guys, he's the Joker. He's kind of like, I don't know, hand in hand with the Batman. That's just how it is. Up next is, of course, Elvis. I already said it earlier in a couple of the other categories. It's no surprise that Elvis is showing up here. Up next is Babylon. That is no surprise whatsoever. A film that takes place in the transition from the silent films to the talkies. There's going to be naturally a lot of crazy, bombastic hairstylists. People are going to be doing a lot of fucking drugs and partying, and there's going to be a lot of makeup and hairstyling and all that stuff. And last but not least is X. I thought the makeup in X was phenomenal. If you guys haven't seen the film, Mia Goth plays both a younger character and she plays the antagonist, the old lady, the old woman in the film. If you didn't know that, it's actually crazy, because the first time I saw the film, I didn't know that, and I stayed through the credits, and I saw the credits, and I was like, dude, what the fuck? She was the same person? It's kind of crazy. That's on the same level as the Batman for me. So between any of these categories, between any of the nominees here, I do think The Whale, the Batman, and X have a solid chance of winning. But then again, I could also see the argument for Elvis happening. I do think Babylon is the one that is probably not going to get anything in this category that we can guarantee, at least. But anything else in this category is really open game at this point. Up next, we're taking a look at visual effects. I think if Avatar: The Way of Water does not win this one, I honestly don't know what we're doing here. James Cameron, like, I don't even need to talk about it. We all understand the excellence that goes into making a James Cameron film, especially with his level of visual effects that he puts into it. This world is literally all visual effects for the most part, and it looks fucking phenomenal. So, I mean, I can name the other categories, which I'm going to. You have Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. You have Everything Everywhere All at Once, which Everything Everywhere All at Once was very, very good visual effects, and especially for the budget that they were able to achieve certain things on. It's very impressive, but you can't beat Avatar. Right? I mean, we have Top Gun: Maverick, and we have Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which is also another phenomenal example of visual effects. The stop motion animation in that film is fucking insane. But it's not Avatar. It's not Avatar. And up next, we have original score, and of course, we're gonna have to start with Babylon. Justin Hurwitz is a master, and who's very, very young in his career. So this phenomenal Babylon score, phenomenal. Up next, Woman Talking. I'm not that big on the score for this film, but a lot of other people have it in their list, so I figured mine as well. I don't know what else I would really put in there. The Banshees of Inisherin's score is, I don't know how to put it. It feels like it's a score to a play, and I mean, coming from Martin McDonagh, I mean, he didn't write the score, but he does write a lot of plays. He was a playwright before becoming a filmmaker, from what I understand. And I don't know, I just really like that vibe for the score. Is it the best score of the year? Probably not. I do think that's going to go to Babylon for Justin Hurwitz. And if not that, then maybe Avatar: The Way of Water. I haven't seen the film yet. I'm seeing it on Thursday. Thank God. I'm so excited to see it. But from what we've heard from the trailers, the score is very, very emotional. It's very cinematic, and I'm very excited to hear it in the film for the first time. But I would be almost a little blind if I didn't at least stick Avatar: The Way of Water in here for original score, because after everyone sees this film, I do think it's going to blow us all away, and we're going to start talking about it a whole lot more, maybe even in Best Picture contention. All right, now we are on to the sound category. I think if this goes to anything but Top Gun: Maverick, I think we're all just tripping on acid. The sound in that movie, being in a Dolby cinema, seeing this film, I wasn't the biggest on Top Gun: Maverick. I don't think it should be a Best Picture contender, but everyone else does seem to think it should be. But what's undeniable about the film is the sound design of it. You literally, when Tom Cruise or any of the characters takes off on a jet or inside of a jet, it literally sounds and feels like you're inside of a jet. You can hear every single little rumble, and you can feel the vibration in the seat if you're seeing it in a theater. That's why a lot of people came back to see the film. I mean, a lot of people, of course, loved the story of it, but just the experience of watching the movie was unlike a lot of films that we see nowadays. But the same can also be said for the Batman. If you saw that film in the theater, specifically the car chase scene between Batman and the Penguin, you could literally feel the engine of the Batmobile in your seat, and you can hear it all around you. You can hear it buzzing in your head. It's crazy. It's phenomenal sound design. And of course, we have Elvis here, a film about a singer, so of course there's going to be very, very good sound in the film. Avatar: The Way of Water, we already know that this film is going to get nominated for a bunch of other technical awards. I don't see why it wouldn't get nominated for sound. If it has terrible sound, then like, what? There's just no way. Is it gonna win this category? Probably not, but it's probably gonna get a nomination. And last but most certainly not least, the All Quiet on the Western Front remake that came out this year on Netflix. I really enjoyed the sound design in this film. I actually really enjoyed the movie overall. I didn't make a video on it, of course. I think out of all the options on this list, between Maverick, between Batman, Elvis, Way of Water, and All Quiet, I think Maverick has the best chance, but then I'd say probably the Batman and then All Quiet on the Western Front. Alright, other than cinematography and directing, I believe this is one of our last technical categories to talk about. But obviously, as you guys can see on screen, we're talking about editing. And what is a better example of editing than Mikkel E. G. Nielsen, I believe is how you say that, and he edited The Banshees of Inisherin. Up next, we have Michael Kahn and Sarah Brosher for The Fabelmans, Rosalind Kalu and Christopher Donaldson for Women Talking. But personally, I do think Paul Rogers for Everything Everywhere All at Once does deserve this. I have to give a shout out to Chris Lebenzon and Eddie Hamilton for Top Gun Maverick. Up next, we have Animated Feature, and first off on the list, we have Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. It's gonna be hard to really call this one because Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is starting to get a lot of Best Picture buzz, and if that film actually does end up getting into Best Picture, like you'll see me predict here in a few minutes, then this could really shake up things in the animated feature category, because there are a lot of really good films this year, like Lightyear, who not a lot of people were that big on, but I do think it is the better selection over Strange World. I've seen a lot of people's lists that have Strange World on there in the top like 2 or 3. And that's kind of ludicrous to me. Lightyear's better than Strange World. My Father's Dragon, I believe that's on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen it yet, but that is a common thread between a lot of other people's lists. And of course, the picture on screen that you guys are seeing is Turning Red. That is my personal favorite animated film of the year. Pinocchio is a very, very close second. I really did enjoy that movie. And finally, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which is a A24 stop motion animation kind of film. If you guys haven't seen that one yet, I definitely recommend it. I don't think it's streaming anywhere. I think you have to rent it. But if you guys would like to, I 100% recommend checking it out. I don't think it's going to be in the top upper echelon of the films that we're going to have to consider to actually win the award. I think that's going to either go to Pinocchio or maybe Turning Red. International feature is the next category we're going to be covering. And first off, of course, we have to have Decision to Leave Here from South Korea. If you haven't seen the film yet, it does premiere on Mubi tomorrow, December the 9th. And I'm very excited to check it out again because I did enjoy the film. I got to see it at a screening a couple weeks ago at a nearby like indie cinema where they only show indie films like that, and it was a very, very good film. I don't think it's the best thing that I've seen this year, but I do think that it could be in contention for Best Picture, at least possibly, very mildly possibly. And I only say that because a lot of people are going to say that Decision to Leave is going to win this category, and it probably will. It most likely will. But my personal favorite, at least international feature that I've seen this year, is Close from Belgium. It's a very intimate, very small scale story about the friendship of two boys in their adolescence, and it's one of the most moving films of the year. If you get a chance to see it, please do. Of course, it's another A24 film. Dude, A24 is just fucking killing it, and I love it. Next, we have All Quiet on the Western Front, and that is from Germany. The Quiet Girl from Ireland, and Bardo, the False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. To tell you the truth, guys, I don't even know how I feel about putting Bardo on this list. Anything that it really has any sort of contention for is going to be cinematography. It is split amongst everybody. I thought it was alright. It's definitely very self-indulgent, and it's it's not going to be everybody's thing, and I definitely don't think it has a shot of winning international feature, unfortunately. All right, next up is cinematography, and although I haven't seen Avatar: The Way of Water, I do think that Russell Carpenter and Mauro Fior are going to get a nomination for this, just because of, just based on the trailers alone, it looks immaculate. The cinematography looks breathtaking. Of course, we have to have Janusz Kaminski on here for The Fabelmans. His work in The Fabelmans isn't as great as his previous work, but it's definitely not bad at all. And with The Fabelmans being such a high contender for Best Picture, we have to have it in here. And then same with Linus Sandgren for Babylon. It's such a high contender for Best Picture. It'll be hard to not have it in here. Up next is James Freend for All Quiet on the Western Front. I love any of the tracking shots that we see in the war, kind of like 1917 that we saw in that with Roger Deakins. And of course, I have to talk about Claudio Miranda's Top Gun Maverick cinematography. Phenomenal stuff, because I mean, of course, we all know that they used real jets and they actually flew them around in the air. It's just everything on a technical aspect of Top Gun Maverick is amazing. I've already said it. And I will throw this in here because I do think the only chance Bardo really has of winning a category is this one. So of course, Darius Kahonji, I believe is how you say that last name. I just have to throw it in here. Do I think it's gonna get nominated? It could not. Like, I could totally see either Top Gun or maybe even All Quiet on the Western Front getting booted out and Bardo thrown in, just because of how immaculate. Because I mean, it is really fucking good cinematography. I mean, that's the picture you guys are looking at right now on screen, and just that still alone makes you kind of feel like the guy that's in the center. For adapted screenplay, I think Rian Johnson for Glass Onion and A Knives Out Mystery has a very solid chance of taking home the Oscar. I do think his work that he did with the first one, with the original Knives Out, is better than this first one, but a lot of people really love this film, especially a lot of people in the critics circuit, so I could totally see this film either taking the win altogether, but definitely securing a nomination. Sarah Polley for Women Talking as well could 100% win the category and is 100% securing herself a spot in the category. Same with Samuel D. Hunter for The Whale. I think this is going to show up in here, no doubt. And the same with, oh my god, I'm gonna butcher this, Rebecca Linquiz, I believe is how you say it, for She Said. I wasn't the biggest on that film. I didn't think the screenplay was that solid, but I can totally see this movie getting in just because of the subject matter that it's covering. It's very Oscar baity, if you want to say that. And of course, Guillermo del Toro and Patrick McHale's adaptation of Pinocchio. If it's going to get in Best Picture, it's definitely going to get in here, and it might even win it if it's in Best Picture. Now, the big flip-out moment of the night for me would be if Matt Reeves and Peter Craig got in for the Batman. If that happened, that would actually blow my fucking mind, and I would be so overjoyous. I'd be so happy. If anything, I could maybe see them taking a nomination from maybe She Said, maybe. And that's an extreme maybe, because I genuinely think Rian Johnson, Woman Talking in The Whale, I think those are safe and secure for sure. I don't know about She Said. I don't know. Now, this is my personal favorite category, so I'm probably going to have a lot to say here, because this is the category if I was ever to write a film. I mean, I guess adapted screenplay would work as well. Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Dude, honestly, this category is so stacked that I don't think I can even choose a favorite. Or even a winner. I mean, I guess I could really pick out one in particular that I like the most writing-wise. Out of all the films, Martin McDonagh's The Banshees of Inisherin is definitely one of the top three. Steven Spielberg and Tony Kushner for The Fabelmans, of course, is another one on the list. But my personal favorite writing of the year is Todd Field's Tar. I really appreciated what he did in that film and with that character. It was a deep dive into her psyche, and I really enjoyed that movie. I do think Damien Chazelle is going to secure a nomination for Babylon, even though a lot of the reactions are mixed right now. But as long as the voters kind of end up in the same place, and I think they will for this specific film, then I think Damien's okay. Now, I will say there are two films that I would kick out Babylon and I would kick out The Fabelmans for, if possible, because I do think the writing on The Banshees of Inisherin is stronger than The Fabelmans. So Everything Everywhere All at Once, the Banshees of Inisherin, and Tar, those three can stay. But let's say we flick out Babylon and we flick out The Fabelmans. I want to put in Triangle of Sadness by Ruben Östlund, I believe is how you say it, and Decision to Leave by Park Chan-wook and Jeong Keong, I believe is how you say that. Both films are excellent examples of what phenomenal writing is, and I don't think that the Academy is going to recognize either one of those films just because I don't think they're mainstream enough. And as stupid as that sounds, that's kind of the truth. All of these films are more mainstream, maybe except for Tar. I hate to say it, Babylon is pretty mainstream. A lot of people that I know personally that aren't really that big into the film, if you mention this movie to them, they know it. They've seen plenty of trailers for it. They've seen plenty of promo ads for it, mainly because of Tobey Maguire being in it, from what I've heard talking to people a lot. But yeah, no, I don't think Triangle of Sadness or Decision to Leave are going to squeeze in here, but if they do, that would be something that I'd be very excited about. Alright, now we're getting into some of our acting nominations, and first up we have the Supporting Actress category. First up I have Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, and then of course we have our two woman talking ladies. We have Jessie Buckley and Hong Chow for The Whale, and Claire Foy. Now an interesting one that I'd like to see win the category is Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think Hong Chow has a little more emotional levity in her performance than Stephanie Hsu does, but I think what Stephanie does is almost a little more impressive. She plays almost 100 different characters within this one movie, and she has to make them all kind of unique and different from each other and have their own personalities, right? And she's also an antagonist and a kind of protagonist of the film at the same time, so she kind of has to balance that. It's very difficult, and it's very impressive to see what she did in that movie. But honestly, if any one of the people that gets nominated here, I wouldn't be too upset. Overall for this category, I would like to see Stephanie Hsu take it for Everything Everywhere All at Once, but if I can't have that, then I love Hong Chow, and if I can't have that, then I guess Carrie Condon. And if I can't have that, then either one of the woman talking ladies. It doesn't really matter to me, honestly. Up next, of course, we have Supporting Actor, and I would love it. I would absolutely love it if Short Round Ke Huy Quan could win for Everything Everywhere All at Once. That would be fucking phenomenal. But if not him, then I would also take Ben Whishaw for Woman Talking. He is one of the only kind of likable male figures within Woman Talking, and he's very good in the movie. Ben Whishaw is a very underrated actor, but to be fair, not a whole lot of people really know his name. So once his name gets out there a little more, that'll change, and maybe that'll happen this year with him winning an Oscar for Women Talking. But if not him, then Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin. Barry Keoghan is also on my list as well. He's a little more on the comedic side of things for the film Inisherin, but honestly, I don't really see either of those two guys winning it. I also, of course, have to throw Paul Dano in here, and if he wins for this, I'm gonna throw a riot, because there's no way he loses for There Will Be Blood and he wins for The Fabelmans, where he kind of just plays the stoic father figure and doesn't really do a whole lot in the movie. I mean, he does towards the end of it, but even then, in those moments, it's still very reserved. On to one of my favorite categories of the entire event, Best Director. Of course, we have Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, and do I think he's going to take this home? Maybe. I think if Fabelmans wins Best Picture, then he's going to pretty much guarantee. I think whoever wins Best Director here, their film is pretty much guaranteed to win Best Picture. Todd Field for Tar. I don't think Tar really has a great shot of winning Best Picture. Damien Chazelle for Babylon, I don't really think has the best shot for Best Picture. I think it has a better shot than Tar does. Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, and of course Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, the Daniels, for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I would love to see them win it, just because this is such a well-directed film. Everything about it screams masterpiece, and it has to win, man. It has to. But if not, I'm okay with Steven getting another Oscar on his mantle at the same time. All right, leading off with our final three categories, we have Best Actress. Of course, Cate Blanchett for Tar is going to be here, and I think out of everyone on the list besides Danielle Deadwyler for Till, I think she has the best shot at winning. So between Cate Blanchett and Danielle Deadwyler, it could be anyone's race at this point. Now, I do get the argument from Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. She has yet to win an Oscar, but I do think what Blanchett and what Deadwyler did with their performances was better. Margot Robbie, very energetic in Babylon, very, very fun to watch, but it just doesn't really compare. We have to have Michelle Williams in here for The Fabelmans, because if we don't, what are we really doing here? She did a phenomenal job, but she's not gonna win the category, guys. I think it's either gonna be Danielle Deadwyler or Cate Blanchett. The final acting category, Best Actor. I'm gonna start with Brendan Fraser for The Whale, because I do think out of everyone on this list, he's probably going to win this one. The campaign is already through the roof for him. Everyone already seems to think that it's secured for him, and if that's the case, then I'm okay with that, honestly. Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin. I don't really see this one happening. I do see it getting nominated. I do see him getting nominated for this film, but I don't see him winning it. And then same with Austin Butler for Elvis. I think there can be a case made for him winning this one, but I do think Brendan Fraser put on the better performance overall. Bill Nighy for Living was also very, very good, very fantastic, but Brendan, everyone else, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. Diego Calva for Babylon. Brendan Fraser, Diego Calva. It's just, for me at least, that's how I feel. Maybe the voters are going to feel completely different come voting day and nomination day, but we'll see. All right, you guys, we have finally made it here to the final category, the category that you guys have all been waiting for. That is, of course, Best Picture. And this list, as I count them down for you guys, this is going to be in order of what I think could win and what is next in line to possibly win. Now, I will say number 9 and 10 on my list could be interchangeable with with a lot of other films in this year, like Triangle of Sadness, films like that. But for right now, this is the 10 that I'm going for. So in number 1, that will win Best Picture, in my opinion, is Everything Everywhere All at Once, that is distributed by A24. Number 2 is The Fabelmans, distributed by Universal. 3 is The Banshees of Inisherin from Searchlight. 4 is, surprisingly, even to me, that while I was making this list, I did start to kind of lean into the narrative that Top Gun Maverick could possibly get in. So number 4 on my list is Top Gun Maverick. Number 5, we have Babylon from Paramount, which is also what produced Top Gun Maverick, Paramount. We have Tar from Focus Features, Women Talking from NGM, The Whale from A24, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio from Netflix, and Decision to Leave from Mubi. Now, like I said, I do think Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to win, and if not that, then probably most likely, more than likely, The Fabelmans will win. But what do you guys think? I mean, there's 10 slots that are available for nominations, so of course, some of you guys are going to disagree with me. Feel free to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, especially for this category, because I want to see what you guys have. I think a lot of us are going to agree on Everything Everywhere, Babylon, The Fabelmans, Tar, stuff like that. But where it gets a little iffy is Decisions to Leave, Pinocchio, Top Gun Maverick. What do you guys think about those? Do you guys think that's right? You want to keep those in? What would you guys change? But you guys, this video has gone long enough. I won't take up any more of your guys' time. I really do appreciate you guys sticking it through and watching the entire video with me. I tried to make it as short and sweet as possible because I know that videos like this can go on for 40 minutes to an hour to multiple hours. People have to cut them up and stuff like that, and I didn't want to make an experience to where you guys feel like you had to sit down and watch an entire episode of television in order to get some predictions for some categories, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully this short form was a little better for you guys and you guys had a good time with it. And I'll see you guys in my next video, which is going to be my Avatar: The Way of Water review. I'm beyond ecstatic to see that movie, and I can't wait to talk about it here with you guys once I do see it. Please be sure to like and subscribe, guys. Please make good choices and be safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.